All right, good morning. This is the Patriot Radio News Hour. Jason is going to be carrying the show by himself. Joe's been he on the Gold Show. He carries the heaviest part of the load. And when Texas came around, there was more for him to talk about. And with as busy as I've gotten over here in Colorado, I've been leaning on him. So he was feeling he tried to power through yesterday. He thought probably like anybody I'll get a good night's rest, but he texted me this morning and I probably should have been more prepared, but I got so many things I'm doing, so many things I'm preparing. But he texted me, he's like, no, can't do it. So I'm here completely unprepared. I'm going to try to do a 1 hour gold and silver show for the Arizona and Colorado heavy audience. But let's go first. If you're new to listening to the show, or if you've been listening for a long time, and Halloween happens to be the day that you're thinking about buying some gold and silver, the number is easy. It is 800-951-0592. Gold and silver, the thing that you buy with your dollars and you hold as a protection against those dollars. It's savings. Many people that talk about gold and silver, they say invest. And it's a funny thing because the value of an ounce of gold versus other things has remained constant through the decades and the centuries. The only thing that seems to change in its value is the currencies. We had a currency, the dollar. It stayed uninflated. It stayed as a great currency to use for well over 100 years. And then the banksters played their tricks and got their central bank. And now you're paying well over $4,000 for an ounce of gold. The gold didn't change. Its value versus a fine tailored men's suit or a cow has remained constant. It's just the dollars that became devalued. They printed up a currency that didn't have gold backing it. They didn't keep the level of the currency equal to that of industry and production in this country. So some people got very, very wealthy pushing dollars around, pushing Federal Reserve notes. Gold and silver, though I say it's not investment, I say it's your savings, and you need to it's pretty simple logic. Those that have savings are more comfortable in their lives. You have no savings, that's kind of like your life raft, isn't it? I mean, gold and silver is your lifeboat. It's your safety net. In the circus, it's always wows the crowd when the flying trapeze, right? Don Luigi is going to do his act without the net, and everyone goes, oh, right, oh, well, because the guy doesn't catch that swinging rope with the little handle. He's falling to his death, right? Not a lot of people are very comfortable doing the flying trapeze without a safety net. I wouldn't do the flying trapeze at all, but if I were somehow having to do so, I would like the safety net. Savings. That's what savings is. It makes you feel comfortable that if in life I don't catch the little bar swinging at me and I fall down, the net will catch me, and I'll get back up on the ladder and go swing around again. Live to do the flying trapeze another day, and that's what I say gold and silver is savings. It doesn't really make anybody rich. You feel really rich when you have a lot of savings. If you're able to sock away a whole bunch over a long period of time, or even over a short period of time, you feel really rich because you have a ton saved up. But you weren't really rich because you bought gold. You're rich because you saved a whole lot of money. We do sell Texacoin. That's one of the first things that I know of that Patriot's ever talked about, which is, and I consider it investment. It's cryptocurrencies. There's always different terms for these things, but investment is a great place to take your gold. Gold and silver isn't going to make you rich, so it just sits there, and it's protected savings, whereas your dollar savings, your Federal Reserve notes in your bank, are losing value every day. If you had $100,000 in the bank and you're looking at your bank statement, your digital, or you go online, look at your digital amount. I put $100,000 in there in 2019, and then this big COVID thing came through, and the printing machines doubled the money supply in 2020. Well, today in 2025, you're barely getting $50,000 to $55,000 worth of spending out of that $100,000. You look at it, you look at your bank account, $100,000. It's like, yeah, well, I'm still whole. That's what most people think. Oh, I'm still whole. I put it there in 2019. Here I am 6 years later. I'm great. But you can't buy what you could have bought in 2019. You're not whole. You should have had it in real savings, gold and silver. But if you had $100,000 in gold and silver, it would be worth a lot more today as far as selling it in dollars, but you still wouldn't be able to buy a whole lot more. It does ebb and flow. Sometimes there's good times to sell gold. Sometimes it's less of a good idea to sell gold, but essentially you're in the same place. So 2 reasons to sell your gold or your silver. One is if you're falling off the trapeze, you have an emergency. You're having a need for money quick to fix whatever problem or situation. I guess the number 2 reason would be, hey, your daughter's getting married, or you're getting married, or you want to donate money to the church, whatever, you want to give it away. And the 3rd reason is investment. We'll talk more a little bit on the other side. I got a silver special just for the non-Joe Day coming up, but I haven't even called Arizona, so I'll have to listen in as well. I'll be right back. The number to call to buy gold and silver from the Patriot Trading Group, 800-951-0592. That number one more time, 800-951-0592. On a Halloween, I'm going to power through a couple hours of radio without Joe. It's good to have a co-host, man. I'm telling you right now, I know there's been some talk show guys out there that they're on their own, they do it by themselves, but nothing better than a conversation to get people to listen in and try to understand what you're talking about. And with this show, it's gold and silver. And I was talking before we hit the break about savings and what you do with savings. There's 3 things. There's emergencies and things that you don't prepare, that you're not ready for, that you don't count on. Number 2 is gifting. You'll use, and a lot of people use their gifting for, hey, I'm going to hold this gold till I die. I'm going to give it to my kids. It will bless them. The 3rd reason is for investment. And when we brought KXXT coin to the audience, gold was kind of hovering around $3,300, and so with the buyback price and everything, it was working really good to trade gold in for your KXXT buy-in. And the people that did that in May, in June, and in July, they're all doing great. I was looking at somebody that got a 9-pack. There was a customer came in and was talking to me. I think his 9-pack it has $35,000 in KXXT coins sitting in his KXXT account. It was only 3 ounces of gold. Now, if I sold you 3 ounces of gold today, and I don't have the website in front of me, you know what? Maybe I'll just pull it up here. Hang on a second. If you gave 3 ounces of gold for KXXT coin back in May or June, buying it back is going to cost you a little bit more. So I'm looking at $20 Liberties, for example. We were giving you about $3,000 credit for those $20 gold pieces. Right now, we're selling them on the website for $41.95. If we had a special, it might be $4,100. So essentially, you went from $3,000 gold coins to $4,000. So you sacrifice $9,000 in gold to get your 9-pack of KXXT coin, and now to get your 3 ounces back, you need, that's 33%. Yeah, gold went up 33% in those couple of months as far as what you're getting and paying for it. And you need $12,000. $4,000 for 3 coins is $12,000. So it's like, well, you kind of fell behind on that. But if you use the example of the guys that were signing up in May, June, and July, the guys that signed up in May, that's one of the guys I was talking about. He signed up right away, and he has like $35,000 in KXXT coin. Okay, he gave us $9,000 in gold. If he took his KXXT coin and bought 3 ounces, it gives me $12,000 bucks. You subtract that off the $35,000 that's in his KXXT account. He's got $23,000 of KXXT coin. He could sell it today and he's ahead $23,000 in, let's just say, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. 5 months. He's making $4,000 a month on this thing if he buys his gold back. So investment is a great way. You find an opportunity. Your brother's opening a new company. There's a hot stock tip. You know the next tech company that's going to blow up. Whatever in life that opportunity is all around you. You got to have your eyes open. Gold and silver is great to be sold back to Patriot Trading Group. We'll give you the money, and you can go and grow your wealth. If you're not someone that's very savvy to investments, then you want to be very careful which ones you choose to do. So just hold it in gold and silver. You hold your savings there. You stay in a nice position, and then when that opportunity hits, use it. And better yet, if you don't have to sell your gold and silver to buy into that opportunity, use whatever that savings was going to gold and silver and apply it to the investment. But regardless, this is where you put your money if you want to grow your savings. And then essentially what I just laid out to you is grow your opportunities for the advancement of your wealth. There's just, you have to be aware of your financial surroundings. You can't get stuck in the trap of how many dollars am I making per hour. Obviously, if you're working a job, that the bigger that number, the better. You have to use these numbers. But what you really want to know is what assets am I holding, and where will that put me in the next month, the next year, and the next decade by holding these assets. You got to be thinking about what the money that you've earned and put aside will do for you. It's actually more important than your dollars per hour. If you have to work a job, you have to work a job. I wanted to be a business owner for a long, long time. I mean, a long time. And I've had business opportunities to buy into businesses to go way back to the 1990s. And I get offered and I skipped. I got offered and I skipped. I got offered. And every time I skipped on one of these, buying into a business, starting a business and failing, you're still getting something for it. You're getting something for your money. You're learning. You're getting experience. I always try to get as much learning from other people's mistakes or misfortunes so that I don't step in the same hole they stepped in. I try to learn as much as I can from other people's experiences. So I'm always talking to people and trying to figure out what was good and what didn't work what did work and what didn't work for those people. But when the Patriot Trading Group came along and Joe was on the air back in 2018, it was Groundhog's Day, 2/2/2018. He was offering people to buy into his gold company. And with all the opportunities that had been offered to me, that was, to me, in that moment in time, that was perfect. And I didn't want to use the gold and silver I had at the time. I didn't have a lot of it compared to the years following. But I sold another asset. I sold my house. Sold my house to buy into a business. House is another asset that is kind of like gold and silver. It holds its value. It holds a value that if you need to cash it in, but property, in my mind, isn't quite as good for savings as gold and silver because you have to pay the taxes on it. You have to fix things. You have to pay for things that are all attached to the home. Obviously, if you're in a really nice area, then the house price grows rapidly because of what's going on in the neighborhood. Then it is investment level, and you can make money. But generally, I got into a business. I used an asset similar to gold, which is property, and it turned into me running the radio station. And my whole story since I've been at the radio station with the gold and silver company, Texacoin, all these things, all these people I've talked to, gold and silver was a key to all of that. Having something in reserves, learning how to deal with assets. So here I am on a Halloween in 2025. Joe is. I was going to make a story for Joe, but he wasn't feeling good. So I'll leave it alone on Halloween. I won't make up some crazy story about him traveling out of the country. But I got a special today. I got a silver special. We're going to run this today and through the weekend. If you go to the website at allamericangold.com, we've been selling half dollars. We've had an abundance of half dollars. That we got the website price at $3.75 a roll. We have some of these live here in Colorado. I know Arizona, we ship some out. I know there's if Arizona needs more, there'll be more we'll be shipping, and I know they have some. But I'm going to drop that price, and let's hit the let's check the spot prices here. I checked it before I got on the air here. It's silver's been holding right around $49. In fact, I got it right at $48.99. So it's $49 for silver right now. Gold is everything's flat. Everything's kind of for once in the last bunch of months we don't have huge up prices or huge down prices. We got a sideways day in gold and silver. But with silver at $49 per ounce, I did it earlier today. I think melt on a roll of $50 is $350. So if you took the $50 and melted them, you'll get $350 of silver based on the spot price. I'm going to sell them just above the melt price. I'm going to sell $50 rolls. I know I've got. I'll take a count maybe on the next break, but I know I got at least 100 rolls of these. At least I'll like I said, I'll check on the break, and I'll get a good count on what I have sitting here in Colorado. I'm not going to assume that Arizona has rolls, but $360 a roll, $10 above the melt on these coins. The phone number to call 800-951-0592 to get your silver $50 rolls today from the Patriot Trading Group. $360. You call 800-951-0592. So, since I don't have my co-host here, and I'm winging the show, I will open up the text lines if anyone wants to ask about gold and silver. And the call-in line, if you want to call in. The call-in line here is 877-536-1360. If you want to call, ask any questions, have a comments. If you want to add to an impromptu show, because I had I'm preparing for a lot of shows today. It is Halloween. I'm going to have some fun later in the day, but give us a call. I'm going to actually talk to Jack here. So, Jack, as I was talking about gold and silver, when Jack was 11 years old, and I was fully understanding the value of gold and silver, I sat him down when he was 11 years old. I think he might have been maybe just before he was 11, but I talked to him about gold and silver. I mean, of course, if someone is 10 or a kid is 10 or 11, you may not really understand, but you trust your dad. And I tried to explain that to him the best I could. I was like, look, I buy I pay for all your stuff. I pay for your food. I pay for you to live here. I pay for everything you need. I said, well, you're at the age where you're going to be making money, doing odd jobs, mowing lawns, whatever. So I told him, look, all of the money that you earn, you just give me half. I don't care what you spend your money on. You give me half of everything you earn while you don't have a taxable job, while you're living here and your expenses are paid, and I'm going to put that into silver for you. And so then he didn't have to think about having to feel guilty if he went and spent all his money on candy, right? The whole that's the whole thing. Don't spend it all in one place, right? Well, if he gives half of it to me, he can spend it wherever he wants. Is the way I looked at it, and it would be a lesson for him, because I told him the 11-year-old version. I told him the 18-year-old version of Jack is going to thank the 11-year-old for doing this when you have a long time of doing this. And at 11 years old, I mean, we're talking 2011, right? That's where gold and silver was hitting its highs, right? And I didn't have a lot of gold and silver, but essentially this is where I had this agreement. So Jack, you did that. Let me ask your opinion first, because my view of things is different than yours. Did that ever frustrate you that every time you had money, I said, give me half? Was there a point in time before you really got to benefit from it that frustrated you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you remember anything specific? Was there like one time where you earned a bunch of money? I don't know, $300-400. Like, all right, give me half. Do you remember anything in particular?
Probably working at my grandparents on the farm, and it was like a hard day's work. And then you
mowing weeds.
And then you're like, give me half of it, or 25%, or whatever.
Well, no, it was always 50. So before you started working at the radio station, before Jack had some W-2 jobs, I did alter it. I did say, look, when you get a taxable job, they're going to be, he's going to, not only am I trying to pull my piece for his savings, taxes are going to be pulled. So I said, well, at least got to give me 25% when you have a taxable job. But when you were mowing the weeds on that 5 acres of land my parents have, that's a sweaty, hot day in the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how much did they pay you? I don't remember. Did your grandma give you some on the side and try to hide it from me?
I don't know. Maybe I don't.
You don't remember?
I might have been.
I could see.
It paid me like $100.
Okay.
Some days if it's a long enough day, maybe less, like 50 to 80.
So you work all those hours, then you give me $50.
Yeah.
So I think you understood Uncle Sam earlier than most kids when you started working and getting taxed. I don't think it affected you as much. Yeah. A lot of kids, Jack, they get their first job, and that tax money's pulled out. And they're like, what happened here? I'm supposed to have so much more money if the kid actually does the math. Mm-hmm. You were already used to it because I was already taxing you 50%.
Yeah, it was worth it, though. It was worth it.
Well, because I put it somewhere where you get to have it later. We'll talk a little more about this. We have some callers that might come in. 877-536-1360 if you want to call in. We'll be right back. Hey, maybe I'll get Professor Glenn to help us on the next show, too. Sometimes when you're not prepared for a show, it's a little daunting, but you do a good job. You stay on script, and in this case, it's gold and silver, and the show pretty much sells itself. I got Glenn coming on. I'll get to him. I have a text it. I have somebody that's a little concerned about his gains after hearing the story of a customer that came in who had signed up very, very early in May. Like, he's one of the first guys that signed up, and he's at $35,000 on his original $9,000. And I got a guy that's concerned because he doesn't feel like his is moving. I'm going to answer that text here in a moment. I want to finish with Jack, though. We were talking about him sacrificing half of his money every time he earned something. But Jack said it before he hit the break. He's like, well, it turned out fine. Jack's been working at the radio station for a while now. I haven't been pulling his savings money since he took his gold and silver and bought something with it. he did exactly what I said on the first segment, second segment, which is, hey, at some point you spend the savings. And Jack, you had a couple friends last year, right? Tell the story. What happened last year? They wanted to, all you guys. It's like, even though you had a really cushy, nice place to live, you have a great place to live. You wanted to move out. What happened last year?
Like with my friends or what?
Yeah, you. Like I said, you live in a great place. You have no reason that you have to move out. And you're 20 years old last year, but you guys all wanted to move out, right? I mean,
we were feeling like it was time.
And you felt that you were earning the money, and your friends were earning enough money that you guys can go get a place again. You were looking at renting.
Yeah, we looked at some of those manufactured homes. Those nicer trailer homes.
Right, or even apartments or anything.
Yeah, apartments, basically. Anything.
But then I came to you and I said, well, you can pay that high amount of rent on that manufactured home, or if you want to just sell off your gold and silver, and if I come in with you a little bit, go 50-50, we can go 50-50 and buy a house. And Jack at this point, because he'd been putting money into gold and silver, essentially 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago, all the way up to last year, he had saved up quite a bit of silver. Now, his grandma, my mom, Bernice, who works at the station here, also was gifting his two cousins, Christopher and Michaela, and Jack. She gifted the grandchildren a box of Silver Eagles. She had bought these years ago when I first got into gold and silver. So Jack had a monster box of Silver Eagles. He had all the silver he was saving. He had gold. And Jack had about $60,000 in metals saved up over a 10 to 11-year span. That means about $6,000. Now Jack didn't spend $6,000 a year. He wasn't earning $6,000 a year and giving it to me. He was getting silver and gold at these cheaper prices. And every time gold and silver kept going up, and look what was going on last year. Gold went from $2,000 to over $3,000 just last year. Silver was also going up. The reason he had so much is because he just kept plunking it away. His grandma gave him a monster box. Anytime there was gold and silver to be had, it was put into the stack, and Jack had half the down payment. So Jack has a house in Johnstown, right?
Yep. And at some point in there, I got a car too with the gold and silver.
Jack did.
So at some point, a portion of that.
Jack had to go through the pains of being a young male driver. He took the first car he got, and I'm a Corolla guy, so I was like, well, it's cheap, and I just advised him. It's not a very sexy car, but he got a Corolla, and he kind of wrecked and messed that first Corolla up, and then he had his eyeballs on my wife's Corolla when my wife and I we got new cars in 2021. So he bought after he had completely practically destroyed the first one. It was just rickety. So he traded that one in, and used a little bit of silver and got another Corolla, and then you. Fortunately, you didn't rear end that lady too hard, but you totaled Mom's old Corolla.
I haven't had an accident since. Let's say that.
That Corolla has quite the story, because that was supposed to be my process serving car. And when I brought it home, it had keyless entry, and it was years ago. It had it was a Corolla, but it had the bells and whistles. Like, this would be great for my process serving. And my wife Brooke is like, I want that car. And so I had to drive the older, grungier Corolla, and she got to have that one. And then Jack got it from her because, hey, it was better than keeping that other Corolla on the road. And then he just demolished that one. So the Corolla that I bought in 2021, which is a standard transmission, it's a manual transmission. It's sporty. It's got a little zip to it. Jack bought that car off me. we did some horse trading. It wasn't all just gold and silver on that, but Jack had to pay me back, and he was working at the radio station at this point, so he was able to pay back. And what a story, right? I mean, but gold and silver is integral into this whole story, and how Jack now is the half owner of a house, and friends like to come over. Jack, you have a Halloween party last week. You got friends coming over maybe tonight for a little bit. I mean, it's. For all the and Jack does not like the responsibilities of the house. It's overwhelming when you want to just have fun.
It's good learning experience, though. It's been good taking care of the lawn and
a swimming pool. You have a swimming pool, which
a huge swimming pool.
Jack loves, but it's such a pain in the butt. Have you even got that thing taken care of for winterizing it?
Almost, yeah.
Get that thing winterized.
Done.
Yeah, get that thing done. Anyway, so that's the story. Okay, now. Let me go to Glenn, but Glenn, I also want to let me pot him in, Jack. There we go, Glenn. I got to answer a text question, but go ahead if you have a quick response or two. I want to maybe on the next segment I'll get to this text question, but thanks for calling in, man, and join the show.
So I started buying silver when it was $8 an ounce, and I started buying gold when it was $12.50 an ounce. And since then, I've bought a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck with silver. I paid for my daughter's wedding with silver, and I've got a ton left, and I've still got a fair amount of gold. And I took the advice of Eric when he said you need an ounce of gold for every year you've been alive, and that's my goal, is to reach that goal of that many ounces of gold for how many years I've been alive, because I think that's smart. But gold is great, and what I find very interesting is when I see all these people, when you see everything on the news about how the COMEX can't keep up and all this stuff, and it's like J.P. Morgan has oversold silver contract gold all the time. They sell so many more contracts than silver is available to fulfill those contracts. And if you're in paper silver, you're an idiot, because they can actually just write you a check. They don't have to give you the physical delivery if they can't deliver it, and that in some cases. So if you have nothing when you have paper silver, when you have real silver and real gold in hand, you have value. You have something you can hold on to, because you can't. And they're like, well, you can't eat gold or silver. Like, yeah, well, you can't eat paper either. So you need that stuff, because if things get as bad as they could get, it's going to be an awesome barter opportunity.
Yeah, hang with me if you want here, Glenn. I'm going to answer this text that I got about Text-It. It's a text about Text-It. And I'm going to explain to the texter why he's in a really great position. He's a little frustrated hearing the story of somebody who's doubled, tripled, and almost quadrupled their money, but I'll explain that on the other side. 800-951-0592. You hear that number? We got silver, $50, super cheap. 800-951-0592, or $360 per roll. That is only $10 over melt. I know I've got I did on the break. I haven't gone in the safe to check the exact. I know I've got 50 rolls minimum, but I'm sure I probably have more than that. I need to go in the vault. We just did a bunch of shipping yesterday to get all the customers that have been ordering $50 previously. I have some here in Colorado live, but if you want to buy some of these, just got to call the number, 800-951-0592. Now, before I get back to Jack or to Glenn, I did have someone who was listening to, hey, you take your silver and gold and you throw a few ounces into Texit coin and you get this Texit coin and then it starts performing. And we started at the very beginning of May. It was the very beginning of May we started getting people into Texit coin. And a lot of people would do the 3 ounces of gold for the 9-pack, which is the biggest way to get in to get started. And I said, hey, I got a guy that came in. He was at $35,000 on his 9-pack, and I don't think he's really done anything. He maybe had one commission because of some signups that were below him, but very little adding or bringing other people in to grow his hash. I had a texter come in. I'm gonna explain. This is it's good for people to ask these questions that are a little more critical. It says, Jason, this is the difference between, say, the middle of May getting TXC, a 9-pack, versus 107 days ago. I bought a 9-pack, but I've added on more hash by getting referrals. I'm barely clearing. So he's made his money back in 107 days. So number one, I'm going to stop him right there. I don't know if he's complaining. Maybe he's not complaining. Maybe he's just making an observation. But he made his money back in somewhere at or less than 107 days, 3.5 months. What investment does that? He says, which is great, don't get me wrong. With the extra 60 days, obviously tripled the investment. With the extra 60 days, obviously tripled the investment versus my position, which is on par right now. On par is such a sad way to say, I put $9,000 in, I've already got my $9,000 back, and every single day I am profiting more every day. So I'm going to try to make the texture didn't. A lot of textures they never. They're very anonymous. I could look some of them up. I might know this guy if I typed his number in. But regardless, let me go with the situation where the guy I talked about earlier came in earlier, and he's more than tripled, versus this guy who's 3.5 months in, and he's made his money back with Texit Coin right now. And it's to be understood. I literally use the word rigged. Texit coin is rigged. These are one of those words. I love using words that make people cringe. Because when you hear the word rigged, that word is associated with crime, or someone is being morally irresponsible, or someone's hurting somebody else. But when your car's broken down and you're in the middle of the desert and you have to rig it so that it'll start back up so you can get out of the desert, you rig it. You do something that's not normal to create a result that you want. Okay, it's a plan. Another word for rigged is plan. Bobby Gray planned this out, and every month, about 3 or 4 weeks into the month, whatever, it goes up about 30%. I've been doing this for 6 months, a little over 6 months now. And in the 6 months I've been doing this, once a month, it has a price punch of about 30%. I don't know anything out there that does this. Now, he's trying to build something that once he gets to his goal in February of $16.69, which, by the way, we don't talk about this enough. On 2/22, anyone who's listened to me for years knows that that's a number that perks me up. It's one of those numbers that that I'm associated, my wife and I are associated with. It's not always a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but things happen with 2/22. So on 2/20, this is the date that Texit gave. On 2/22 of 2026, it'll be at $16.69. This is the mathematical path that he rigged this thing. And what that means is, as this thing has been put together, about 3 weeks into the month, bang, 30%. So we just had ours last week, a week and a half ago, whatever. Sometime just before Thanksgiving, you're going to get hit with another 30% rise in the coin price for whatever coins you're currently holding. You don't get 30% more hash, but you got to get the rig before you can pump the oil, right? So the guy that texted, he's a little more than 3 months in. The guy that I talked about was essentially 6 months in. He's a little shy of 6 months in. There's possibly three price rises and more coins in the pile. So the guy that says, man, I just barely cleared. But here's the thing. If this guy that texted does not sell his Texit coins right now, and here comes Thanksgiving, okay, let's just say he's at $9,000. He's at $9,000 in 3 months. The next month comes, 30% hits, okay? What's 30% of $9,000? Well, it's $300 per every 1,000. That's $2,700. His $9,000, and this doesn't count the coins that'll be plopping into his account for the next month up to the right before Thanksgiving. That $2,700 will be added to whatever. It might be more like $3,000 if his coins go up past that $9,000, which it will. So let's just say it's $3,000. He's going to be at least at $12,000 by Thanksgiving. Now he's got 33% profit on this thing. Now he waits till 3 weeks into December before Christmas comes. Now he's got $12,000. He's got another, I don't know, who knows, another $1,000 of the coins gets put into his pot over the next month. So he's at $13,000, and then now 30% of that. There's like another $3,000-$4,000. And it's a snowball that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. By the time this texter gets to his 6 months, where this customer I had in my office yesterday is, I'm guessing he's going to be at about triple of his investment at that point in time. I'm kind of excited. I know there's a lot of opinions about Halloween, and I have my opinions as like anybody else. But I like Halloween. There's a lot of fun to be had. I know there's people that think it's evil and horrible. I know there's people like me that I have fun. I understand the history of it a little more clearly. But that's the cool thing about history is different people rewrite their versions of something. And one side says something is completely horrible and evil. The other side says it's fun and it's I mean, I won't do the history this year on Halloween, but there's a very specific history about this holiday that actually make you feel pretty good, each to their own. But anyways, to finish this show, one last time, 800-951-0592. Get these $50. I mean, I'd be game for anybody that might want to come in and pick them up. I might, at least Colorado. I'm not in Arizona, but in Colorado, you might be able to come by after the show and pick up your $50 if you wanted. But we have these $50 for $360 a roll. I know I have I keep forgetting to go into the vault. Doing the show without Joe, I'm not as there's those shows where you don't see me on camera or Joe does a segment to by himself. It's because I'm running around getting things accomplished. But I have to be on the mic during the segment, so I'm not as I couldn't get a proper count. But for as many as we have. $360 for a silver roll of $50. There's 7.15 ounces of silver per roll. You could do the math since you know the amount of silver. Silver spot is $49. You multiply that, you get about $350. We're only about $10 over melt. 800-951-0592. The texter came in, and I didn't say he was complaining, but I mean, he texted back in, Jason, I'm not complaining. I'm just noticed the difference, and my procrastination cost me, which I knew right away when you talked about it, because I knew about mining for years. No hard feelings. I wasn't picking on you. I just think you should be really, listen, yeah, it's great if you would have been in 3 months earlier. Boy, I can't imagine how good my position would be if I would have got in 6 months before I did. If I would have got in, see, Mike Morris is really good at this. He's outstanding. He's working harder and harder. He's going to keep pushing this thing as long as he can. But if I would have known about this at the time that Mike Morris knew about this, Mike's position and my position would have ballooned huge because even though Mike is better at Texit Coin and he does it better than me, he'll admit he didn't understand very early on how big this thing could be. And then when the more and more he did it and the more he figured it out, he went full force. And then, of course, as soon as I was running the radio station again, he came to me with it. So, no, I wasn't picking on anybody on it. On a great investment, you want to get in as early as you can. That's just the way it. I got another response. It says, I bought a TXE, Texit Coin 9-pack. I sponsored some people, and my return on investment, my ROI, I got it done in 85 days. And then I doubled my money at 110 days. Yeah, if you're interested in signing some people up, it's all about increasing the mega hash, your computing power, which there's only going to be 100 million mega hash. The mine is selling out very quickly. I think it's going to get into next year before they sell it out. But we've had people say somewhere around Christmas it'll sell out, so there won't be. I joined up 3 months late pretty soon, because pretty soon there is no way to buy the hash. You'll have to go to somebody who owns hash and try to convince them to sell it to you. So